Welcome to my 2025 Nintendo predictions. Now, I did one of these last year and I got just about none of it correct, so this year I'm aiming for a 50% or better, and honestly, I think I've got a pretty good chance. Just kidding, I don't really know anything. This is kind of like things that I want to see on the next console, and this is what I think is realistic timeline-wise for everything that's happening with Nintendo this year, so let's get into it. Obviously, we are in this wonderful month of January, and in January, we are going to get Donkey Kong Country Returns. Woo, yay! I'm gonna make a prediction that it gets like worse reviews than it should because people are mad that it's not a new Donkey Kong, but it's still a pretty good game. Oh, and I can almost guarantee that RGT is going to be really pissed about it, but I'm going to be really happy about it because I've been playing through all of the Donkey Kong games, so I will probably stream this day one and finish it hopefully in the next few days. Moving on to February, we have absolutely nothing, which is promising in a lot of ways because I believe in February this is when we are actually going to get the Switch 2 unveiled. I made a whole video detailing my predictions for what the Switch 2 could possibly be last year, and honestly, I stand by it. I made a lot of points in that video that have gone on to be like, everybody's like, oh yeah, I think it would make sense for the Switch to cast to the dock wirelessly. I'm sorry, I said that. You guys know what a Chromecast is? A Chromecast is where you plug it into your TV and you can send something from your phone to the TV. So we have this dock and it basically is gonna act like a Chromecast and you can cast your Nintendo Switch to it. When you cast your Switch to it, the picture comes up on a TV. Basically, you cast the Nintendo Switch to the dock, which will put it on the TV. And the main thing that I think it makes sense for is to tie it in with Nintendo Switch Online. I literally said that in my prediction video before anyone else said anything. That was the gimmick that I thought of, and here we are now. Everybody's like, oh yeah, that would make sense. I called it a while ago, so I still believe that that will probably happen. I think that they're probably going to unveil this thing, show off the system, show what it can do. It's just going to be a bigger, better Switch with different kind of Joy-Cons that snap on. Mayhaps they have some sort of mouse feature that's come out recently that maybe that's a gimmick of the system as well. And I think it's going to be fully backwards compatible. Nintendo Switch Online is going to cross over, and they're going to show all of that, and they're going to say that it's going to be coming out in June, is what I am assuming. I don't know. There's no precedent for Nintendo to release their consoles in June, but for some reason I just have a feeling that it's going to happen in June, and so I'm going to throw it out there in case it is right. If not, maybe we see this baddie in November or something, but June could work for me. In March, we have Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. One of the last Wii U games that was stuck on the Wii U is now ported over to the Switch. It's a Xenoblade game. It's very exciting. Everybody's excited for it. Now in April, we don't have anything super duper massive. I am assuming that we're probably just going to get drip-fed information about the Switch 2 or something like that, or mayhaps a partner showcase at some point in March that points us towards some fun indies coming out in April. In May, this is when we're really ramping up for the Switch 2, but I think we're going to get a small release for the Nintendo Switch, maybe something like a Pushmo game, or like a Box Boy. I love a Box Boy. I'd fuck up a Box Boy. That would be awesome. Then I think June comes around and we get the Switch 2, and launching with that system, I think we are going to see a brand new 3D Mario, which is obviously extremely exciting, alongside Nintendo Switch Sports 2 or Super Nintendo Switch Sports, depending on whatever they call the Switch. I'm pretty positive they're going to call it the Switch 2, unfortunately, so Switch Sports 2, I think, could definitely be there, because that's a great sort of gimmicky game to show off the system that isn't so gimmicky that it's hard to appeal to people like 1-2 Switch. Switch Sports capitalizes on the success of obviously Wii Sports, and Wii Sports is the best packing game of all time, so it would make sense to get a sequel to it here, and just to have a bigger, better Switch Sports. Put boxing back in there, put baseball back in there, bring back the Miis, get rid of the sports buddies. I think it could be awesome. There's a lot of people speculating that maybe they're going to put upgraded ports of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and I think there's a possibility about that, but I really hope not, because I wouldn't buy it. I already have them on the Switch, and the Switch is ideally backwards compatible with this system, so I don't really see any point there, but for some people, I can see that there might be a little bit of value there. I also think that the Nintendo Switch, the original, is going to continue to be supported for a while after this next system comes out. There's going to be games coming down the line that people are very confused why it's not a Switch 2 exclusive, but I think it'll basically come out on the Switch 1, but since it's backwards compatible, you can, play it on your new system. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. July rolls around, and I think we're going to get Mario Kart 9 or Mario Kart 10, either one. I don't really know what naming convention they're going to go for because technically Tour is Mario Kart 9, but like it's not a numbered Mario Kart, so maybe they want to keep it as more of a spin-off. They go with Mario Kart 9 or 10, and I think this game is so different from the Mario Karts we have been getting. I think this game flips everything on its head, and it's really divisive in the community. I think it's going to piss a lot of people off, but luckily, like we've talked about, this console is going to be backwards compatible, so if you really hate it, you can keep playing Mario Kart 8. But I think there's going to be a focus on story for some reason. It's going to be basically, like a Diddy Kong's racing type vibe, and that's going to be in there as a mode. There's going to be a bunch of different modes. There's going to be a second mode that's a double dash mode, and it brings back that kart racer, but it's just, a fun little mode that you could possibly play. I think that would be awesome. I would love to see that come back in some sort of way, as well as more of a baseline Mario Kart experience, but I do think that they're going to switch around the tech of everything. So there's going to be new types of bikes and new types of this and new types of that, and I think they're finally going to go with basically the Smash Bros roster of Mario Karts, and they're going to bring in, characters from all over. We've already got Link and the Inklings and the Animal Crossing characters. I think we're going to get things like Kirby, maybe a Fire Emblem Link character, an ARMS character, stuff like that I think is really going to start coming out. In August, I think we're going to get ARMS 2. Now, if you remember ARMS I believe came out in June for the Nintendo Switch, if you remember, and it was kind of a really cool experiment. I think it's one of the coolest games on the system still. It's a fun game. I like it a lot. Min Min is in fact one of my mains in Smash because of how much I do love that franchise, and I think it just has a lot of untapped potential. For the first iteration of a new IP, Nintendo sold like around 3 million of these and more. So it just makes sense for them to expand on it a little bit with the success that saw. People have gone on to say that it is a bit of a failure, whatever, this, that, and the other, but when you talk about it in the context of 2017, it did pretty damn well, and yes, that was because there was sparse things to play on the Nintendo Switch, obviously, but still, I think it was a lot of fun, and a very good game overall. So, ARMS 2, the sequel, Legs, just kidding, I don't think Legs are going to be in it at all, but I think it's just going to expand upon what ARMS was, give us another good single player, because the tournament mode in that game was actually pretty fun. September rolls around, and I think this is going to be a divisive month, because we are just going to get a game for the Nintendo Switch original. Dylan's Rollin' Western rolls his little ass onto the Nintendo Switch original in 2025. People are pretty upset because why isn't this on the Switch too? But it's such a small release that nobody really truly ends up caring all that much. October's going to roll around, and we are going to get Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD on the original Switch as well. I think this is going to be a bit of a blunder for the Switch 2 in a lot of ways, but remember, it's backwards compatible, so you can still play these games on your new system, and I think that's just what makes the most sense. They're going to finally put these two big Zelda games on the Switch, and, you can play them on the next console. They might not look as amazing, but they're already pretty old games, so it's really not too big of a deal, and people are excited. Plus, I think there has to be a Zelda game this year because there's always a Zelda game for the most part, like every single year, and so something like this would make some sense. October's gonna roll around, and we're not gonna get anything too crazy except for pixelated Donkey Kong is gonna come out. A brand new Donkey Kong game in the style of Celeste. I talked about it in this video, and I just think if you give us a hard-as-nails Donkey Kong game that is so damn brutal, and you go a little crazy with it, and you put it out there for $30, it's more of a budget title, I guess you could say, because it's so different. Maybe even make it exclusively on the eShop for a little bit, and eventually gets a physical. Come on, dog. It makes so much sense, and that game could be so good. That's how you spice up Donkey Kong a little bit, and I know I'm getting greedy because it's 2 Donkey Kong games in 1 year, but please, oh please, I need it so bad. Then I think in October, we're also going to get a Switch 2 release that is Metroid Samus Returns from the 3DS is coming out on the Switch 2. It's a remaster of the 3DS, obviously, because it seems like Nintendo is sort of getting in this mode where they want to remaster more 3DS games, and I think it makes sense for them to continue that pattern over on the Switch 2 just to fill out the lineup a little bit. And that would set us up beautifully because in the next month, in November, I think that Nintendo is finally going to release Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I think it's going to be a simultaneous release between both the original Switch and the Switch 2, but the Switch 2 version is, beefed up a little bit. They make a dedicated version for that, not just something that you can, plug into the Switch 2 because of backwards compatibility. I think they're really going to take advantage of that system as much as they can and show off some of the power of it. I think the game is going to come out and be fantastic, probably have some really cool type of multiplayer arena type shooter thing, because I know, obviously we want that main story. That's what everybody plays this games for. But if you think about things like on the DS, like Metroid Prime Hunters, that laid the framework for something that could be really, really cool. And now in 2025, these types of shooters are all the rage, and obviously it is pretty oversaturated, but not with Nintendo. And if Nintendo were to enter the space, we know that they would take a lot of good care of their franchises and make sure that everything is up to snuff and not just another damn Concord, okay? And in December, I don't think we get anything. Now, let's backtrack a little bit. Through the whole thing, I think we're going to get 3 different presentations. One big presentation in February, obviously, like I said, showing off the system. Another presentation in June that goes over basically the second half, announcing all of those games that I just talked about. And then another one in September that basically just sets us up for the following year, and I think all the stuff I said that comes out after is going to do that, but we're also going to start the year in January with a pretty interesting title for the Switch 2, and that being a sequel to Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, and an announcement for the next Animal Crossing. Those are probably the 2 takeaways, other than the games that come out for the rest of the year in that September Direct, in my opinion, but we will have to see. Those are just my thoughts and predictions as to what we will see for the Nintendo Switch 2 this year. I'm so excited for this year for Nintendo. I'm hoping and praying that this system actually comes out in 2025. It literally would make no sense for it to come out next year, in my opinion, but we're going to have to wait until that faithful announcement that is hopefully in February, but at the very latest, March 31st. So cross your fingers, chat, that is coming out this year. Let me know some of your predictions down in the comments below. Did I miss anything? Do you disagree? Let me know all of that down below. Check out this video. It's a banger. It's a vibe. It's a good time, and I will see you over there. Goodbye.